Hello and welcome back to another patch 6.2 guide, and today we're going to be looking at the Shipyard. This is one of the major new features in the patch, and the good news is, it's actually pretty simple. Today I'm going to cover how you unlock it, I'm going to go over the ship system, the mission system, I'll go over some of the cool rewards, and finally give you just a few tips and tricks. Unlocking the Shipyard is required to get into Tanaan Jungle, so no matter what, it's something you will have to do, and it's super easy to unlock. You will get a quest which sets you on that path as soon as you log into patch 6.2, assuming you have a level 3 garrison. That is the only requirement, and the rest of the quest line is completely self-explanatory. So first of all, before I go into detail about the rest of the Shipyard, let's talk about the ships themselves. They are mechanically quite similar to followers, but do have a number of key differences. Followers are mainly collected in the world, and they're permanent, while ships are actually constructed by talking to the shipwright NPC. Initially, you will only be able to build a transport ship. The good news is that most of this is covered by the initial series of tutorial quests, so it's sort of self-explanatory. To build other types of ships, you need to learn their blueprints, and I'll go over how they are unlocked. So in total, there are 5 different types of ships. You start off with the transport ship. The next blueprint that you unlock is that for the destroyer, and it just comes from the very first few shipyard quests that are given to you. Next, we have the battleship. Your mission table NPC person will give you a quest to get to Honored with the Hand of the Prophet / Vol'jin's Headhunters, who are one of the main factions in Tanaan Jungle. Getting Honored with these takes like 2 days, it's super quick, and the vendor for those factions, which is located in Tanaan Jungle at your base, will sell you the battleship blueprint. After you unlock the battleship, you'll get a new quest from your mission table NPC dude, which is to do 15 naval missions. I recommend doing as many short missions as possible to complete this quest quickly, and completing that quest will unlock submarines, and it will also increase the ship capacity of your shipyard from 5 up to 7. Finally, the carrier is from another mission, which is really just the same as the one that unlocks the battleship. You just need to complete the required number of missions, and after that you will be good to go. This quest will also upgrade the capacity of your shipyards to 10 ships, which is the maximum amount. Now that we've sort of covered how you unlock these ships and the general progression of the shipyard, let's just talk a little bit about how they counter and just the various elements that actually make up a ship. So each ship counters another kind of ship. In addition to this, they, kind of like followers, have a number of traits. So in terms of the counters, battleships counter destroyers, and then destroyers counter submarines. Submarines then counter carriers, carriers counter battleships, and transport ships actually counter land objectives, which pop up in some missions. Now, unlike followers, ships can actually be destroyed. If you fail a mission, each ship on that mission has a 50% chance to be destroyed. This is fine though, because you can easily build more ships. This system is designed to be far more expendable than the follower one. Now, in addition to having those base counters that I talked about, each ship has got a few other different things attached to it, and the first one of those is the crew of the ship. Now, the type of crew that you get is randomized whenever a ship is constructed. The Night Elf and Blood Elf crews reduce mission time by 50%, the Dwarves and Goblins increase gold rewards by 100%, Orcs counter Icy Waters, and Draenei will counter Dense Fog. Gnomes and Trolls have a chance to actually recover equipment from missions. I'll talk more about equipment very shortly. Humans and Undead increase the success chance of a mission. Pandas increase the success chance of a mission that is over 1 day long, and then the Worgen and Tauren will increase XP gains of all ships that are on a mission by 50%. Now finally, there are Murlocs which counter land objectives, but I don't actually know how to get them yet. I'll put in an annotation if I do. Now, I mentioned equipment back there. Well, in addition to having a crew, each ship has 2 equipment slots. The first one is unlocked at rare quality, and the second is unlocked at epic quality. Ships level up in much the same way as the followers do. In fact, in exactly the same way as the followers do. Equipment mainly allows you to counter minor threats that are on missions. So having a bit of equipment that counters a threat from a mission won't actually give you as much of a success chance increase as directly countering the enemy ship type, but of course having the right equipment for the job does help. Most of the bits of naval equipment drop off the rare mobs in Tanan Jungle. There are also 2 other bits of equipment which are a little bit different. They're both sold by the Hand of the Prophet / Vol'jin's Headhunters faction in Tanan Jungle. The first one of these is the Tuskar fishing net. This is sold at Honored, and it causes successful missions to give you some fish. There's also Unsinkable, which is a bit of equipment that prevents a ship from being sunk if it loses a mission, but it's only a one-time usage thing. Once you unlock a blueprint for a bit of equipment, you'll find an NPC in your shipyard who actually sells those bits of equipment for garrison resources. You just purchase the equipment and then run over to your mission table, open it up, and throw that equipment on a ship. Finally, there is a special ship called the Awakener. It is a destroyer that has an Arakoa crew, and Arakoa crew are they're very cool in that they will actually counter battleships. This means that the Awakener can actually counter both battleships and submarines, making it an extremely powerful ship. To get it, you need to be exalted with the Order of the Awakened. And that's basically a run-over of these ships. It may sound a little bit confusing here, but it's very similar to the follower system, and I've got no doubt that you'll work it out very quickly once you actually see it in-game. Now that we understand these ships, let's talk about the missions that we will be sending them on. This is very similar to the follower mission system, but it does have a slightly different interface. The mission table is a map rather than a list, which I suppose is a nice little aesthetic upgrade. One of the things that you will notice though is that some missions are gated behind doing other missions, and it's actually simple enough. Draenor's seas are split into 4 quadrants, and every once in a while a blockade mission will appear in a quadrant. You will need to complete that blockade mission in order to do any of the other missions inside a quadrant. Now I'll quickly run over the various different mission types. So you have training missions, which are just super simple ones that appear near your garrison on the map. They're short and they give a little bit of XP. Combat missions are a catch-all mission type that pretty much covers most of the missions that you're going to get. Treasure missions will generally give you gold or currency, and then blockade missions are the ones that I spoke about earlier, which need to be completed in order to do other missions in a quadrant of the map. The legendary quest naval missions also have their own unique icon. Some of these are part of the new legendary quest, but others are actually catch-up mechanics, allowing you to get high mole stones or BRF runes that little bit quicker. Bonus missions function a little bit differently to other mission types. When you complete a bonus mission, a circle will appear on the map on your mission table. Now, other missions that are located within that circle will get a bonus of some sort. Now, these bonuses are Apexis crystals, a 10% increased success chance, 50% XP, and 100% gold gained. Other than those differences, well, the naval missions will play out just like your follower missions, and you will be able to work it out easily enough. Next, I'm going to quickly cover the rewards that come from both the missions themselves and the achievements related to the shipyard. As far as currency goes, there are missions which give you anywhere from 250 to 450 gold, and there are also missions which give you 1000 to 2000 Apexis crystals, and finally there are some missions which give 20 of a sorceress crafting material. You can also get a river beast mount and the left shark battle pet from a few missions that will pop up from time to time as well. In terms of gear, there are missions which will give you Hellfire Citadel raid gear. However, unlike the 6.0 system, it gives you gear that is on par with your current level of progression. So if you raid LFRs, you'll get LFR gear. If you raid Heroics, you'll get Heroic gear. There are also missions which give you bind on account bits of baleful gear, so you can send those tokens off to your alts, which will be pretty handy. And finally, there are 3 missions which give a strength, intellect, and agility heirloom ring that will grant 5% extra XP. That's pretty handy because it means you won't have to get the heirloom ring that comes from the fishing event, because I know that not that many people are really into the fishing. Now, the rich players will really enjoy the mission which gives you the waterlogged manifest reward. Using this will unlock the black market auction house inside your garrison, which is super handy. Finally, there are 3 achievement rewards. There are 2 types of captain's hats which can be unlocked. The Captain's Hat comes from the Petty Officer achievement, which requires completing 100 naval missions. Then the Charting a Course achievement will require you to do 3 rare naval missions, and it will give you the Admiral's Hat, which is particularly fancy. And then finally, the Seaman achievement will require you to do 50 naval missions, and in return for getting the Seaman achievement, you will get the Admiral's Compass. This is a handy little item that will port you directly to your shipyard on a 4-hour cooldown. And that's basically it for the rewards that come from the shipyard. All in all, it is required to do the legendary quest, but other than that, it is a little bit weaker than the main follower system in 6.0, at least for the time in which it came out. Next, let's just cover some quick little tips. So first of all, ships are very expendable and the resources to create them are readily available. When starting off with a shipyard, I recommend just building as many ships as you can in order to complete the missions faster and progress your shipyard up to its maximum level. Now, if you completely max out your shipyard, you may have to decommission a ship or purposefully lose one here or there, but that's no big deal. Overall, you just want to get powering through those initial quests as fast as you can so you can unlock the carriers and the various more advanced ships. Once you are at the stage where you've unlocked all 10 ship slots, then you can start worrying about having an optimal setup. And speaking of optimal setups, well, it's actually kind of harder to do that than it is with the follower system. You could easily tailor your followers to have like 100% success chance in every mission possible, but the setup with the ships makes that just a little bit less easy to do. Still, you do have good control over things. Most missions have 2 to 3 ship slots, and they also have you facing off against enemy ships of different types. That means that if you have 2 of every type of ship in your shipyard, then you will be able to counter all of the main threats of every mission. Do remember that directly countering an enemy ship confers a larger success rate chance than just countering one of those small little threats that your equipment deals with. Now, once you've got 2 of every ship, then you can further increase your success chance by equipping your ships with equipment that's tailored to a mission. Now, equipment is actually replaceable, so ideally you just want to have as many ships that are, of rare or epic quality as you can. And then if there's a really big important mission, like say the legendary quest or a bit of raid gear, then re-equip some of your ships with bits of equipment that are tailored to the mission. That might sound a little bit confusing, but basically, if you've got 2 of every kind of ship, you'll be just fine as far as this system goes. So to give you an example, even on a raid mission, countering only the enemy ship type gives you a 75% success chance. That is, if you had no crew in your ship, which is impossible, and you had no equipment, as long as you are putting the right type of ship into that mission, you'll have a 75% success chance, which is pretty high. Hell, even on the final legendary naval mission, you can get a 75% success chance just by having 3 of the correct types of ships which counter what your enemy is using. So overall, as I said, just 2 of every ship and you'll be golden as far as this system goes. And really that's it for the video. Just have 2 of every kind of ship and you'll be fine. This system is actually pretty simple once you get into it, and comparatively, it's not as powerful as the follower missions were in patch 6.0. That means that mainly you want to be doing your heroic or your mythic dungeons, you want to be doing your raiding, you want to be doing your stuff in Tanan. That will be the fastest way to upgrade your character. Still, if you're interested in doing the legendary quest, well, going to need to pay attention to this shipyard, and I recommend just getting it leveled up as quickly as possible and getting all of that stuff over with as soon as you can. Anyway, that is it for me. Be sure to stay tuned to the channel for loads more guides and tips about patch 6.2 over the coming few days, and I will see you next time.